Welcome. Today we are going to react to this. Let's go. Let's get started on watching what happened to every show that copied Gumball. Let's start.
There are over 4 shows who have been accused of copying Gumball, with similar elements such as animation, characters, writing, and so much more. So today, we're gonna go through all these Gumball clones and see what happened to them, how similar they really are to Gumball, and where they are today. Starting with the most infamous one, Miracle Star, which follows the life of a goat named Meowly Shing.
First thing about this show, it looks very similar to the Amazing World of Gumball, as if you can notice, 3D. Since Gumball is 2D and 3D animation, this is also 2D and 3D animation. Just realized.
Talking pet frog Gua Gua, but instead of producing a somewhat new and original show, the creators saw the success of the Amazing World of Gumball and tried to make a knockoff version with their own versions of the Gumball characters. And they didn't even try to hide it. This show just blatantly copied entire scenes.
Yeah, I just realized. And I just realized I watched Gumball as a kid. And I just realized that the brain is from Gumball, from season 1 episode something, but this is just like the same, but just the stomach. Yeah, so that's what I just realized.
Gumball, only swapping out the characters for ones they
Sorry
actually
for a bit of
owned.
silence.
For example, one scene they copied came directly from the first episode of Gumball.
But not just that, Miracle Star is basically just a Chinese ripoff. Literally, if you're around the Gumball around the world, apart from China, you can literally just watch Gumball. Sorry for the talking, this hasn't even been 1 minute yet.
Build the DVD. In that episode, Nicole reminds Gumball to return a DVD of alligators on a train before they get fined. At first, Gumball tries to talk his way out of it, but after seeing Nicole punch the wall because of her full anger, he quickly agrees to return it. But in the Miracle Star version, the exact same scene is played, the only difference being their characters. But this isn't the only time Miracle Star copied Gumball scene by scene. If you search for comparison videos on YouTube, you will find multiple clips of Miracle Star directly copying Gumball, with the only real difference being the character designs. But even the characters themselves weren't unique. The family was simply swapped out with different animals, with Anais being the only one not having a counterpart, possibly due to China's former one-child policy, which restricted most families to only having one child, as well as boys being favored over girls in China. Other characters were also given counterparts. Carrie was replaced by a pot of broccoli, Masami's design remained mostly the same, with the only change being her color, and Bobbert was swapped out for their own robot. Instead of taking the boring approach and suing,
I'm sorry, ad. These ads up.
doing Miracle Star, Cartoon Network thought it'd be fun to make fun of the whole situation in an actual episode.
Cartoon Network. Everyone loves Cartoon Network, don't they? Like and subscribe if you like Cartoon Network, and comment down below your favorite TV
For me,
channel.
my friend. Like for me.
What are you doing?
I thought it's the end.
No, it's not the end.
Copycats. And this episode starts with the Wattersons grocery shopping and the exotic
I can't do anything. Sorry, it's just my family.
strange items. But as they walk away, their counterparts, Chi-Chi and Ribbit, appear and begin repeating what Gumball and Darwin have said. Chi-Chi and Ribbit are versions that the Gumball team made up that's supposed to look like a reference to Miracle Star's characters, but they most likely only took this approach for legal reasons, because they didn't want to be labeled as copycats themselves for using it in this episode. At home, Gumball discovers that their counterparts are Chinese TV stars profiting off the copied versions of the Origins episodes. Like the DVD as previously mentioned, they do get a little laugh from their counterparts' descriptions, all of them except for Anais, who feels left.
Anais is very smart. She's only 4 years old and have a big brain. It's like half of her body is just a big brain.
Out because she doesn't have a doppelganger, because obviously they don't like daughters in China, but little did the Watersons know this would actually end up saving them later in the episode. Fast forward a little bit and they find out that they're copying everything they do, so trying to stop them, they decide to fight against their
By the way, if you want to see this episode, it's called The Copycats. Season 5, episode 11, if you saw it. Just to remind.
Using their own moves against each other. Then, Anais points out that the copycats aren't really trying to be evil, they're just lacking originality. So the family breaks into a song, encouraging them to find their own style and be themselves. But that doesn't work, and the copycats immediately post their own version of what happened. As a last-ditch effort, the Watersons put their own lives at risk, doing the most dangerous stunts, hoping they kill off their copycats. However, that doesn't work, so they take it to the next level and get on a burning truck that's going towards an unfinished bridge. At first, it seems like they're completely screwed, but Anais uses her big brain and thinks of disconnecting the tank from the truck, helping them, well, not die, but without an Anais of their own, the copycats fall to their demise, being the end of the copycats. After the episode aired, Miracle Star received tons of backlash, having a 1 out of 10 rating on IMDb, leading to its cancellation in 2017. But
Not just that, Miracle Star came 3 years after Gumball came out, 2014, 2017, Gumball 2011 to further on. And just to let you know, season 7 is about to come out 6th of October. But it's called The Wonderfully World of Gumball, so you can see the trailer on YouTube. Just to remind.
Miracle Star wasn't the only show that tried to copy Gumball. Back in 2009, there was a show called Pinky Malenky, which follows the main character who's also called Pinky Malenky, who's just trying to fit into a human world. That's pretty much it. He has 2 best friends, JJ and Babs, who are always by his side. At first glance, it's pretty easy to notice that the animation style is quite similar to the Amazing World of Gumball. And there's actually a reason for that. The show's creator, Christopher Millard, worked as a storyboard artist on Gumball in Season 1 and a writer for Season 2. And you can tell this by looking at the very first episode of Pinky Malenky,
It's me.
Snacks, which starts in the
Alright,
food
let me take over this video. Get off, my friend.
No,
Let me see. Okay, so this is Gumball.
no, it's not.
Alright.
This is Pinky Malenky. Get out.
Okay.
and how much
Visit you, please.
life. But soon
see.
his friends discover that Poppins are being discontinued.
Let me. Okay, I'm gonna be recording with Chris, my friend. Right for me.
Fine.
Throughout the city. When Pinky hears the news, he inflates like a balloon and bursts into the air. Immediately, it's clear that Pinky doesn't have the same physical limitations as his human friends. His body is extremely stretchy and aggressive, used for tons of visual gags. He can stretch incredibly far, shrink in size, and basically do things that no human could, which is very similar to the exact
Every cartoon actually kind of does that. Gumball, Tom and Jerry, like cartoons they stretch. They normally do that, don't they?
We did that.
Like stretch, like Gumball. Yeah, they normally do that.
created movements of many Gumball characters. That said, these wacky stretch gags aren't special to Gumball. Plenty of animated shows like SpongeBob, Animatics, Tom and Jerry, and so
Yeah,
much
these
more
shows, like,
use a
they like
similar
that.
format where the main character can do a bunch of movements and stuff that can't be replicated in reality TV shows.
Of course.
Also, in a 2009 pilot of Pinky Malenky, Pinky has always been a character who can transform
Is this
and do
about
a lot of
Pinky?
things with his
Pinky
body.
Malenky, not
All
just
before
that.
Gumball was
Stop.
even a thing, because Gumball was created in 2011, which means that Pinky Malenky was never intended as a copy of Gumball.
I've never seen her in the
Because of
Gumball
timing,
series.
Pinky
How?
was seen
Who?
as a ripoff. But the
Yeah, but
similarities
it's
don't
not.
stop there.
Pinky is
One of
just
Gumball's
another show.
standout traits is its used mixed animation styles, from 3D to puppets to live-action characters, you name it, and they've done it, which is what makes Gumball so unique. Pinky Malinky, while sticking to mostly basic character designs, isn't afraid to experiment with different
I'll be
animation
back at
styles. For example, in the beginning of the episode Change, there's a little gag moment where Pinky, Malinky, and JJ turn into real-life versions of themselves, with Pinky becoming an actual hot dog and JJ turning into a girl version of himself. However, you could say that Christopher Miller didn't try to copy Gumball, but he instead took inspiration and learned from his experience and time working at the show. I would end it here, however, one of the characters from Pinky Malinky seems to be an exact copy of another character in the other.
Do you wanna say like and subscribe?
Yeah.
So
Like and subscribe to Chris's channel and comment who do you like better, Ronaldo or Messi?
yeah, you heard him. Comment down below if you like Ronaldo or Messi and smash that like button and subscribe.
Bye.
Be a good boy.
Yeah.
Let's continue.
Amazing world of Gumball. That character being Babs. This is definitely a stretch, but think about it. She's basically Darwin if he were human and girl. They both wear green and orange. They are nice, supportive, and serve as a friend for the main character. It's possible that Babs was designed as a reference to Christopher Miller's previous work, for something fans could point out and laugh at, but she's not. She's a major support character who appears in multiple episodes, and when a character is similar not only in design but also in personality traits, it stops feeling like a funny cameo and starts feeling more like they took Darwin, changed his gender, and called it a day. So, is Pinky Malinky a ripoff of Gumball? Well, I don't think so.
For me personally, I don't really know, but
Yeah, me too.
there's also a 2008 pilot of Gumball, but
Is that?
and this is a 2000 and there's a 2009 pilot of Pinky Malinky. So you can check the 2008 Gumball, but so just comment down below what you think is best. Who if you think if Pinky Malinky copied Gumball.
It's many similarities. Of course, there are going to be parallels in animation, plot, and character dynamics when one of Gumball's original creatives is behind the show. But that doesn't necessarily make it right. It's okay to take inspiration from something you helped create, as long as you bring something new to the table. Take Rebecca Sugar. For example, before creating Steven Universe, she was one of the main writers and storyboard artists for Adventure Time. Another
This guy thought it just said, get out of my way, fool. He looked exactly like him.
There's another popular show.
popular show, but instead of copying Adventure Time's characters, plot, and animation style, she used what she learned from the experience and built something original. That's why Steven Universe became such a success. It had lovable characters, an interesting story, and different animation. There's a difference between being inspired by something and copying it. To quote Gumball himself, be your own you, try something new, and find your own things to do. And that quote will be important for this next show we're going to talk about. Just keep that in mind. But to answer the last question, what happened to Pinky Malinky? Well, it seems that Pinky Malinky was cancelled. Though there's no official news that the show was cancelled, the show was completed for years, but it didn't release until 2019. With all that time the show was finished, the people behind it probably moved on. Not only that, but when the show was first announced, it immediately got backlash for supposedly being a knockoff of Gumball, which put the final nail in the coffin for another season. And since we're talking about Netflix, the platform that hosted the show, they are notorious for canceling less popular shows, to put more money into shows that seem more successful. But another lesser-known show that has also been accused of copying Gumball is Elliot from Earth. Elliot from Earth follows a boy and his mom who are transported across the universe, landing in a string.
I just realized something. Gumball, Pinky Malinky, and Elliot from Earth were all Cartoon Network. But Pinky Malinky, there's only one difference from both of them. Pinky Malinky is also on Nickelodeon, by the way. It was, but now it's not anymore, since it was not too successful. As I did some research about it. It's not, so just wondering.
Strange world filled with aliens. far from their home planet, which is Earth, they try to find out who brought them
Chris?
here and why. They start
If
building a
you
new
put
life
some
on
of
this
the
planet and eventually meet some characters, including Mo, the talking dinosaur. Unlike other shows I've mentioned before, Elliot from Earth doesn't exactly have anything that stands out that could be considered a copy of Gumball. One of the first things you'd probably notice while watching Elliot from Earth is how much the animation reminds you of Gumball.
That's true. The aliens, they look like the monsters and like the giants of Gumball. I just realized. Well, many people would have realized.
There's moments where the animation really goes all out. Super detailed, almost cinematic shots you'd never expect in a cartoon. It really shows how much effort went into making both Imagine bringing your side project to life just by thinking about it.
Ad again, sorry.
It's kind of like
shows. So why do they look so similar? Well, it's not just a coincidence. They were actually made
It's
by the
kind of
same
funny,
UK-based branch
but
of
like,
Cartoon Network Studios.
it's
The shared
always
production
funny,
team
but
explains a
like
lot, from the
sometimes.
character animation to the detailed backgrounds. You can totally see similar things in both shows. Not only that, but Sarah Fell, one of the producers on Gumball, actually stepped up as a creative director for Elliot from Earth, which is probably why.
So, two of the shows, Pinky Malinky and Elliot from Earth, the creators of both shows were actually the employees of employees of the Amazing World of Gumball. So it makes sense why everything's so similar. But Miracle Star is just a big rip-off, big Chinese rip-off.
Can you stop?
You guys go.
No, he doesn't know.
Both shows have a similar vibe, same humor, and really identical animation. Even if the Gumball animation can be explained by them being produced by the same team that brought us Gumball, there's a character that also seems really close.
Remember when Gumball was a baby, like that person tried to like do bad stuff to baby Gumball.
Yeah, and that's season. And if you want to see the episode, that's the Origins season 4 episode. I can't remember. I'll tell you in the description.
Similar to Darwin, which is very similar to the previous situation with Pinky Malinky. For starters, they both have positive and curious outlooks on life, always trying to do the right thing and make others feel happy and included. Both characters are incredibly loyal friends. Darwin is always by Gumball's side no matter how wild things get, and Mo forms a strong bond with Elliot, sticking with him through every adventure. But that makes sense for a character who is supposed to support the main character. However, there's more. They are also both highly adaptable. Darwin goes from a pet fish to a walking fish who has implemented himself in the Watterson family, and Mo, who was originally a dinosaur walking on his 4 legs, adapted to walking on 2 legs. And they use glasses for his weak eyesight. They both even have a similar color scheme, with Darwin and Mo each having green and orange colors. So is Elliot from Earth a ripoff of Gumball? Well, from what I can gather, I don't believe so. While the show might share some surface level similarities with Gumball, Elliot from Earth seems to lean more towards its story-driven scenes rather than your typical cartoon. Its characters, storytelling, and writing feel unique and very promising. Unfortunately though, the show was quietly cancelled after only 16 episodes, although it was never officially cancelled.
And there are 2 seasons from Elliot from Earth that I just researched.
Enough time has passed since the first season finale for many to assume it won't return for a second season, and it seems that there's a cliffhanger in the last episode, which makes things even worse for big fans of the show. Not only that, but the show's creator and showrunner, Guillaume Cassoda, parted ways with Cartoon Network just a few months after the finale. Then, in 2022, the show was removed from HBO Max, along with several other Cartoon Network titles to save an extra buck. Out of all of the shows on this list, Elliot from Earth feels like the most promising one that ended too soon. Given it was created by some of the talent behind the Amazing World of Gumball, I wouldn't be surprised if the show could pull you in with its unique characters and world like Gumball did. However, the next show accused of copying Gumball is Harvey Beaks. This show follows a boy
Nickelodeon.
named Harvey and his friends, V and Foe, as they explore their life in Little Bark Grove. At first glance, nothing about this show really screams to be a copy of Gumball. Both shows take place in different environments and both have different animation styles. They are also both produced by different networks, until you realize Harvey, Fee, and Foe are similar to Gumball, Darwin, and Anais. At first glance, it might seem like they are totally different groups, but when you dive deeper into them, you can see some similarities between each group. Each trio is made up of young, adventurous characters with unique personalities that balance each other out. Harvey is the kind, thoughtful one, kind of like Darwin. Fee is the chaotic one who reminds you of Gumball, and Foe, while not as smart as Anais, kind of reflects her dumber side, as seen in the episode The Goons. Not only that, but they also share similar color schemes. Gumball is blue like Harvey, Fee is pink like Anais, and Foe is orange like Darwin.
Yeah, that's actually
Speaking
true.
of Foe and Darwin,
That's actually very true.
He already lost the batteries.
Wait, I'm sorry, the volume just slowed down.
backstory. The Origins, where he was thought of.
That's what I was talking about. If you want to see the episode, the Origins episode, season 4, episode 21, there are actually some clips on YouTube if you want to
was
see it.
just a pet fish, but after being separated, the love between Darwin and Gumball kept their spirits and hopes up that he would return. Break free.
Oh, another ad. The third ad in one video. I'm sorry. Maybe I should go YouTube Premium.
And return he did. Despite all the challenges he had to face, he was given opportunities that make him the fish we all know today. Although we still don't know who Darwin's parents are or how he ended up in the shopkeeper's van. And even though Darwin would like to know who his parents are,
Ever since I started watching Gumball, I started to watch Gumball like 2019, 2018. I know that's pretty late, but that's when this season 6 came out. But when I was young, I always wondered who this was. I always wondered, but I never knew.
he ended up in the shopkeeper's van. And even though Darwin would like to know who his parents are or where he grew up, he found a new family who love him and treat him more than just a pet. When it comes to Fee and Foe, they were both separated by their parents and had to survive on their own. Although they did reunite with their parents, Fee and Foe looked up to Harvey's parents when their parents weren't there, and thought of Harvey as family. A random similarity, but Harvey's family were also animals like the waters.
Not just that, but Harvey Beaks, they're like, they're friends. That's what the show say. But like this video says they're treated like family since Fee and Foe's parents were just gone.
Some similarity, but Harvey's family were also animals like the Watersons. But this is definitely a reach. As for the environment, Harvey lives in a literal forest, so that makes sense because they're birds, but it's definitely something to point out. So,
Not just that. What do you think Foe or Fee or the other way around? I don't know what they are. Are they monsters or are they like, I don't know, beavers? What are they? Or are they just fictional characters? Because it looks like the only real character is Harvey, who's a bird. But if these are birds, then no, their teeth are not like that, and they should have beaks.
is Harvey Beaks a ripoff of Gumball? From what I can gather, once again, I don't see it. The two shows have their own unique style, tones, and stories. There might be a few similarities between them, but it doesn't seem like they're straight up copying Gumball, and more like taking inspiration, which makes total sense. Since both shows were created by C.H. Greenblatt, what really sets apart Harvey Beaks is how deep the show can actually get. Harvey Beaks isn't afraid to tackle deeper themes, like family and even death. Topics that are surprisingly heavy for a kid's cartoon. Not to say Gumball doesn't also have these moments as well, as they have many episodes that can get quite story-driven. But compared to other shows running on Nickelodeon, Harvey Beaks was definitely one of the few who had moments like this in the show, making it unique and interesting. Not only that, but it seems the fan community both the Amazing World of Gumball and Harvey Beaks often show love for both cartoons. As for what happened to Harvey Beaks, the show was ultimately canceled after 2 seasons, possibly because it it never reached the same popularity as other Nickelodeon shows that were on at the time, like SpongeBob or The Fairly Odd Parents. The show then was eventually pushed to Nicktoons, where it seemed to be left to die. But because you made it all the way to the end of the video, you should subscribe. And if you don't want to, that's okay. But if you enjoyed this video and you want to help us create more content like this, it really helps us out.
No, we're not watching the ad. If you really enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and you can see more of this is on Gumball Universe. So, see ya, peace.